Welcome to the Pencil Bob channel. I hope you enjoy my stories.
You that right, it's not quite legally or technically an HOA by familiar American standards. So let me lay down some info, but I need to be vague until we get through court. Also, hello fellow Brits in here. If you can explain this better than me, then go ahead. If you live in a community like this. Crap, isn't it? I'm not usually the sort to stir up legal drama, but after 13 years of this utter farce, I don't even care anymore. If Company B and Company A want to play pretend with this weird Frankenstein of a homeowner's setup, they're about to see what happens when the residents stop playing along. This isn't just about a pothole or two. This is about a whole system that was broken from the start, run by people who couldn't manage a pub quiz without turning it into a disaster. Let me start at the beginning, or at least where it started for me. We bought new. The house was lovely, the neighborhood green, and the idea of having a stream and woods nearby sounded picturesque. They pitched it like some kind of eco-friendly dream community, all very utopian on paper. They said there was a management company in place to look after the shared areas. Not a problem. We figured it was just some minor fee to keep things looking nice. But then we started noticing things, subtle at first, like the way the road outside our house never seemed to get resurfaced. Potholes started forming within 2 years. At first you think, oh well, the council will come out eventually. Except they never did. Because, surprise, the roads weren't actually council-owned. That little detail had somehow been overlooked in the transition. Technically, Company A was supposed to hand them over. They didn't. And Company B, they just sort of sat on their hands. Our quarterly meetings became a theater of frustration. Picture 30 annoyed homeowners sitting in plastic chairs in a freezing village hall, all staring at the same 3 smug board members pretending they have no idea why we're upset. Every single time we asked when the council would adopt the roads, they gave us some excuse about meeting standards. Well, we have to reach certain criteria, they'd say. There's a lot of red tape. I'd bark one day, slamming the folder full of complaint letters onto the metal table. It's been over a decade. What have you even done to meet those criteria? The chair of the board, Martin, a soft-spoken man who always wears beige like it's a statement, calmly adjusted his glasses. We hired a surveyor last year. One surveyor in 12 years. My teenager could have done a better job mapping the road issues with Google Earth and a pencil. Laughter from the room. Except Martin didn't laugh. He just leaned back like he was above it all. Like we were the problem. And it wasn't just the roads. The stream running through the estate started attracting rats. Real tail-wriggling, bin-ripping monsters that scurried out at night and even started popping up in the kids' play area. When we reported it, Company B said it was a natural environment, and that we all have to do our part to coexist with nature. If nature is chewing through my compost bin and leaving turds on my trampoline, then nature can pay my council tax, shouted Susan from 3 doors down. Her voice cracked halfway through the sentence, but she meant every word. So we kept paying these management fees year after year. The green spaces, fine. A bit overgrown sometimes. The dog poo bins, emptied only when someone kicked up a fuss. The play equipment rattled and creaked like it hadn't seen maintenance since it was installed. We kept asking where our fees were going. We were told administrative costs and contractor fees. Oh yeah, growled Gary, my next-door neighbor. Then show us the contracts. Let's see what we're actually paying for. Silence. Every request we made for transparency was met with resistance. Eventually, they offered us a spreadsheet that was so vague it might as well have been written in crayon. But the thing that really pushed us over the edge happened at the last meeting. That's when they dropped the bombshell about the railway land. Turns out the disused strip of overgrowth between our estate and the old railway line. Yeah, that was our responsibility. Or so they claimed. For years, the National Trust had been maintaining it as a courtesy during some sort of B study. A courtesy. Now that the study was over, Company B says we need to maintain it, at our cost. So let me get this straight, I said, standing up, my chair screeching behind me. You're telling us that this plot of thistles and stinging nettles, which no one uses and which technically belongs to the Department of Transportation, is somehow our responsibility? Yes, Martin replied, folding his hands like he was delivering a sermon. The land borders the estate, and so the duty falls to us. Bollocks, someone muttered. I think it was Gary again. Could have been me. From there it was like a spark to dry grass. Voices raised, people yelling. Susan had to be pulled back into her seat after threatening to throw Martin's thermos out the window. The worst part, they just sat there, blank expressions, not even pretending to understand the fury in the room. As if we were all just being unreasonable. Then came the school bus issue. The council doesn't maintain our roads, but they've got no problem sending school buses in and out, heavy buses, 5 times a day, ruining what's left of our crumbling asphalt. We asked Company B about that. They shrugged. That's out of our hands, they said. Like hell it is, snapped Maddie, a young mum from the other side of the estate. You can't even patch a hole without sending out for 3 quotes and losing them all. It became obvious. They weren't going to fix anything. They were just going to ride this out as long as they could, collecting our fees, pretending like it wasn't their fault, and shrugging whenever someone brought up the rats, or the cracked pavement, or the mysterious accounting. So we're done. We've had enough. A group of us got together in Gary's garage last weekend. We brought beer and snacks and folders filled with emails, photos, letters, and every document we could find. We compiled a list of everything. The unmaintained roads, the lack of transparency, the shifting of responsibility, the unexplained budget items, the rat infestation, the lies about the land. We're talking to solicitors, real ones that know their way around corporate mismanagement, and we're going after them, all of them, Company B, Company A, even the individual directors if we can, because we're sick of being treated like tenants in our own homes. We pay council tax, road tax, maintenance fees, and what do we get? Broken roads, rats, and a list of obligations we never agreed to. Gary wants to go on the news. Susan is already contacting local papers. Maddie's husband is designing a website to document it all. We're done being polite. We're done writing nice letters and waiting 3 months for a non-response. We're coming for them. And when we're done, there won't be a single board member left who thinks this is a job worth holding on to. Martin, he'll wish he'd taken his thermos and walked away when he had the chance, because on Monday we served Company B with a solicitor's letter demanding full financial disclosure, a detailed maintenance record, and a legal review of land ownership boundaries. By Wednesday, they'd responded with a 3-line email and an attachment that turned out to be a grainy photo of a 2008 site plan. Susan brought it to the solicitor. He laughed, actually laughed, called it an insult wrapped in a JPEG. By Friday, he drafted the first round of pre-litigation notices. And now it's not just one solicitor. Gary's cousin's firm is interested too. They're talking class action, breach of fiduciary duty, possibly fraud. We've filed with the property ombudsman and are submitting to the local MP. Turns out there are statutes they may have violated. Martin might be in beige today, but he'll be wearing a deposition next week. They've already started panicking. We saw it in the emails they sent out over the weekend. Words like clarification, miscommunication, and restructuring started popping up. Then a sudden announcement that Martin would be stepping back for health reasons. Too late. The council is now involved. They're claiming ignorance, but we're not letting them wriggle out either. If we go down this rabbit hole, we're dragging every last person who looked away for 13 years down with us. This isn't over. It's barely begun. And if Company A and Company B thought a few potholes and a stack of ignored emails would be the end of it, they've seriously underestimated a neighborhood of tired, angry homeowners who have nothing left to lose. Because now the solicitor has gone further. We've initiated discovery. That means every email, every board meeting note, every subcontractor invoice, every budget report, anything they've touched, is fair game. And if they refuse to hand it over, we're going straight to court, not just for the mismanagement, but for the cover-up, for the negligence, for the outright disrespect. Company B's hired their own legal team now. That firm sent us a letter warning against defamation. We pinned it to the wall in Gary's garage like a trophy. We're not scared. We've got statements from contractors who were never paid, residents who were misled, families who had to repair sewer lines at their own expense because no one from the board would return their calls. And then came the whistleblower. An anonymous envelope landed in Maddie's mailbox with no return address. Inside were pages of internal emails, screenshots even, between board members. They joked about homeowners being too dumb to understand the finances. One message from Martin read, "As long as they keep paying, why rock the boat?" We made copies, gave them to every solicitor, sent them to the ombudsman, forwarded them to our MP. One went to the local paper, which now has a reporter asking questions. The dominoes are starting to fall. A council inspector finally walked the site and was horrified. He wrote up a report with photos of sinkholes and damaged fencing. We know because we've seen the draft. The council can't ignore us anymore. Martin's resignation was just the first. Another board member stepped down quietly on Monday. 2 more didn't show up to the emergency meeting. The remaining one, she cried in the car park when a journalist tried to interview her. We're not done. We want compensation. We want a full audit. We want criminal charges if the fraud runs deep enough. And we will go door to door if we have to, rallying every last person who's been quietly suffering to add their voice. This neighborhood has been exploited long enough, but not anymore. Not with us watching, not with us fighting back. And next week we serve Company A. The way this has handled its finances isn't just bad, it borders on criminal negligence. For over a decade we've been asked to pay maintenance fees, and in return we've received vague spreadsheets and hollow explanations. When pressed for contracts and itemized expenses, they respond with either silence or utter nonsense, like a scanned site plan from 2008 that proves nothing and answers less. These aren't just omissions, this feels like deliberate obfuscation. The lack of financial disclosure, the refusal to provide real documentation, and the dismissive attitude toward basic accountability are red flags for something deeper. Now that we're consulting solicitors and looking at fiduciary duty violations, Company B suddenly has the audacity to play the miscommunication card. No, this was never about a clerical error or a filing mistake. This was a pattern. Years of extracting money from homeowners with no receipts, no audits, and no answers. And now that the heat's on, they're scrambling. But it's too late. They had a chance to be honest, and they blew it. They treated our fees like free money, and now they're going to learn what it means to be audited, investigated, and sued. What kind of management company lets the roads go unmaintained for over a decade and then shrugs when confronted about it? The roads are crumbling. Literal potholes that you can lose a tire in. And every time someone brought it up at a meeting, they parroted the same tired excuse about standards and criteria. Meanwhile, the council won't take responsibility because Company A never completed the transfer. So what do we have? A dead zone. Roads nobody owns but everyone blames. And the people who should be fixing them, they've been sending out one surveyor in 12 years and pretending that's effort. It's not effort, it's negligence. And then to top it off, they let school buses run over these roads daily, further destroying the surface, and still act like they can't be bothered. This is a joke. WA, Company B, and whatever paper ghost of Company A still exists have created a system where no one's in charge, except to collect checks. If our infrastructure collapses completely, if a child gets hurt on those busted sidewalks or someone crashes into a crater, it's on their heads. We've warned them, repeatedly. What makes this all so much worse is the arrogance, the smug, beige-wrapped arrogance of people like Martin who acted like we were beneath them for daring to question anything. For over a decade we've been treated like unruly tenants instead of homeowners. When we voiced concerns, we were met with smirks, dismissals, and gaslighting. We were told to wait, to be patient, to trust the process. What process? The one where rats overrun the play areas. The stream becomes a pest breeding ground, and the board refuses to lift a finger because it's not their jurisdiction. The level of disrespect shown to us is appalling. When Susan broke down about rats near her toddler's sandbox, Martin just adjusted his glasses and moved on. When Gary asked for contractor details, they pretended not to hear him. These aren't just bad board members, they're people who genuinely don't care. And now that they're being dragged into the legal spotlight, their sudden excuses about health issues and restructuring are pathetic. They didn't care about our health when the roads cracked or the vermin moved in. They cared about control. They liked the power. And now they're going to face the consequences.
I would like to thank you for watching the video to the end. To encourage us to make more videos, please like, subscribe, comment, as well as share. Check out this other video if you haven't already.